Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today we are finally revisiting that shaker card that I had talked to you about a few videos ago, using some of these Hero Arts products. Specifically features the Looking Glass dies, the birthday party ones, and then the circle and square frame also we'll be using. So they're made to lay on top of each other and create a scene. But I I thought I could do a slimline card and make the scene by using them as each individual frames. And so that's what I'm doing here. So I have my slimline size card front, and then my ruler, and I'm just going to kind of map out for at least the top and the bottom, to see where my dies need to go so that they're evenly spaced. Because I didn't want them to be all like, crazy wonky, that there wasn't enough room in between them. And I knew that it was going to be a tight fit for the frames. So you could leave them off and just leave the scenes, as cutouts without being framed in. But I liked them so much better framed in. So that is why I chose to still include the frames, even though you'll see later that I kind of have to trim one to make it fit. So here I'm just aligning these up, so that I have the same amount of space in between. I did choose to make them a higher on the card so that I would have room to put my sentiment in. And then I'm just going to tape these in. It's not going to cut out the squares in case you did not see my other video. It's just going to cut out the scene. If you're watching on YouTube, I will link to that other video in case you're interested to see how they looked all stacked on top of each other. And then I also cut out 4 of these frames. I toyed around with doing them as colors, but ultimately I really like the way that they looked white. That doesn't really surprise me since I'm more of a clean and simple card maker, with the exception of my scenes. I liked the way they looked white. Here, my tape was sticking a little, and it's probably because I used the pieces of purple tape that I use to hold down my dies multiple times until they're just kind of raggedy and can't be used anymore. I was taking the time to peel the tape off until I realized that this particular piece is a cutout and will be in the trash, and this was so unnecessary. But I did it anyway. I did it anyway. The only part it's going to leave behind is the banner. And then for this next one, it's the same thing. Like I said before, it's not going to cut out the complete square. Hero Arts has multiples of these kind of looking glass dies. I really like the birthday party one just because I feel like it's, I don't know, it's more versatile, I guess, to me. Where you would have balloons and presents and cake and, for several different things, not just birthdays. So after that is done and all of that is removed, I am going to try to line up my frames here. And like I said, I knew it was going to be a close fit. So I'm going to move on to the coloring. The coloring is sped up. I didn't really do any fancy coloring for the banners. I just kind of filled them in. I did them in the same color scheme that I did my first card. So, if you saw that video, this is probably going to look relatively familiar to you. And just did, the same, Roy G. Biv, rainbow colors right across the card. And then I colored even the balloons and the cake in the same exact way. At the time that I was doing them, I thought I would be able to fit them into one video. But as you can see, that this is the second video with the same thing, and they're both like 20-ish minutes long. It was not, unless we were going to sit here for 40 minutes together, which in that case, you might as well go back and watch the first video I ever made, where I didn't do a voiceover at all. I just talked to myself while I made my card for, I think, like a total of 48 minutes or something like that. I just talked to myself the whole time, like at 2 o'clock in the morning by myself in my craft room, just kept talking. So there's that. This card is Eric's birthday card, which now at this point, we're into March. So his birthday's been quite a few weeks ago. But I just wanted to, in our family, we we used to go out to dinner, but that gets pricey with a lot of people. So we used to go out to dinner this year. In the past several years, we've pretty much just gone to my parents' house for our portion of it, and then we celebrate everybody's together. So mom's, Eric's, and my sister's boyfriend Jerry. His birthday was just 2 days ago. They're all kind of lumped in there in this like 2 week period. Just like in the summer, it's me, my dad, and my brother-in-law Jonathan. We all have birthdays right by each other. Uh, Kim and Peanut, though Peanut gets his own party, like obviously they come to his birthday party that we throw him. And then Michelle is solo now that Graham has gone to be with Jesus. And Caitlin will be solo because we don't have any other November birthdays in my side of the family. Now on Eric's side of the family, we do. His mom is November. And they don't typically group them together though, so that's not really a thing of consideration. We celebrate everybody's individually. So for Eric's birthday this year, because it's just crazy, they were nice enough. Eric's family was nice enough to come out to our house. There is a little bit of a driving distance between the two of us, and so his birthday fell on a Friday. They came out here. Everybody kind of did like contributed in their own way. His brother and sister-in-law brought salad. His mom and dad brought like rigatoni and the bread. The bread was so good. And like chicken cutlets. And then I made his birthday cake. I tried to get him to go outside of the box for his birthday, but he didn't want it. So I made the same cake I made last year, which was like a Reese's cake, that was chocolate cake with peanut butter frosting, and then like a chocolate ganache and chopped up Reese's peanut butter cups on top. And so we did that, and my ganache did not set up this year. It was kind of runny. It was kind of a bummer. The taste was there, but the look was meh, questionable at best. And I guess I shouldn't give him a hard time because my mom, I still make her coconut cake, um, like always. And, that's something we've been doing for quite a few years now. But now my father has tried to adopt it as his. He's saying he wants coconut cake on his birthday now. The problem with that is that my oldest sister doesn't like coconut at all. So last year, not this year, last year I made coconut cake, but then I also made, I think peanut butter chocolate, brownies because I wasn't sure what, Jerry wanted. And then obviously I knew Eric would eat those, but this year, because we have a 4-month-old and we had a lot going on, obviously with my surgery and stuff. I just made the coconut cake. So I feel like if my dad adopts the coconut cake, then poor Michelle's not going to have any kind of dessert to eat twice a year. But so I was thinking maybe I'll do German chocolate for his birthday because it's got the coconut and the chocolate. But then my mom doesn't like German chocolate. I'm not sure. Not sure what I'm going to do. I can't make multiple cakes. So here's the other card. If you saw that video, if not, the link will be below if you'd like to check it out. And so now I'm just marking to build my shaker. So I'm just marking the edges so I know where to line them up because I'm going to stamp a background. The background I'm using is also Hero Art. It's the, I think it's called Bold Candy Stripe. But my background is made for like an A2 size card, or a square card. It's not made for a slimline card, but that's cool because I'm all about stretching my supplies. And so how I'm going to fix that is I'm just going to mask it and stamp it twice. So for the large portion on the left, I'm stamping in soft pool ink, by the way. And I like to rub it down first just to kind of get the ink all over, and then I go back in and really ink up the background. In order to get a even stamping, I am going to flip my card over on top of my red rubber stamp and then place a backer piece behind it, and then just smooth my hand out over the background so that I'm holding the card with one hand and applying pressure with the other, and then I will switch which hand I am using. And in order to get this to cover my full background, then I will remove the tape, flip the tape around, and then stamp that other one by itself. Now it's not going to look great. I just hit the microphone with my hand because I talk with my hands. It's not going to look great. I wouldn't use this on the background as a card without something to break it up, but because I just need the stamp to match in the panels behind, this will work perfectly. So, yeah, so that's basically what we did for Eric's side of the family and then for my side of the family. Now, typically, we try to celebrate each other's birthdays also like by going out to dinner with each other or something. And Lord knows, it's been a long time since we had a date night. A long, long time. Um, so I was like, okay, like, well, I'll make plans to go out to dinner. Here on the left hand side, you can see that it just has the banner, so it's a little open in that area. And I decided to fill it with another sentiment. So the other sentiment says "Let's celebrate," and I am going to stack it on top of each other. And in order to make that work, I'm going to use my little tape trick. So I'm going to cover up the "Let's," and then I'm going to stamp down the "Celebrate." I will clean it really, really well, stamp it off a couple of times to make sure that there's no residual ink. And then on the second stamping, I will mask the "Celebrate" and then stamp the "Let's." Just make sure that you remember to take off your tape. I have done that. I forgot to take off my tape and then stamped it down. So, that was my game plan. Like, I was going to take us, to do dinner or something, just so that we could have a date night. And then it occurred to me, now Eric he's not originally from Cleveland. He is from a little more west-ish, northwest-ish. And so he came here to go to school. And that's where a lot of his college friends, he obviously are from this area. But then which I did not know, apparently there's a very large grouping of kids from Pennsylvania that come to this area, or like Bowling Green or Ohio State, like that come to go to school here. And I didn't realize that because when I went to school, like my education was a little like in a roundabout way. I mean, not that I have my bachelor's degree, but it was very kind of roundabout. I did not have a traditional college experience. So one of his best friends, who was also the best man at our wedding, is actually from Pennsylvania. We got to go back to the card. So here, I've taken a piece of that Hero Arts acetate and I've cut it in half because I don't need an A2 size, but I do need a full window to go across my slim line. So I'm using dry adhesive to attach my acetate to each, to the card base, and then I'm going to use foam tape. Just like you normally would when you're building a shaker card, you use that foam tape to keep all your pretty shaker bits in. But I decided that in order to make sure that there was always something pretty in each one of the frames, that I was going to do them individually. So I'm actually going to build the foam up in between each one of the frames. And this is me just going back in to trim off the extra acetate. It doesn't have to be pretty. Nobody is going to see it. It just has to completely cover your frame. So, yeah, we'll do that. It's really ended up being a fun card, and normally I try to make him a card that has something to do with the gift that I bought him, but I really didn't have stamps to do that. Because all of us, and I had sent everybody a, text message, group message, telephone calls back around Christmas, because since my wonderful husband has been in college, which has been quite some many years now, he is still using the same laptop from college. And so it takes, I am not exaggerating, it takes like 30 minutes for that thing to start up. He can't really do a whole, like to accomplish a whole lot on it because it runs so slow. And so they were having some deals around Christmas time, and I wanted to buy him a new computer. And so I know he would yell at me and say that it was too much money because that's what he does. That's what he does. Just side note, back to the card, I do always use 2 layers of foam tape with my shaker card just to give myself enough room for my shaker bits and pieces to move around kind of freely, and not get trapped in between. Like, I mean, I guess they are trapped, but not so trapped that they don't shake. So I recommend doing at least, the 2. And you have to make sure that you get them right up next to each other so that your little sequins or rhinestones or, pretty little things don't escape the card. No escape of the little shaker bits. So, I had sent everybody in my family, his family, well, they're our family, but my side, his side. Back to this. So in order to get it right up next to it on my last piece, what I like to do is I kind of lay it down in there, and then where it meets, I put my scissors right up against the piece that's already down, and then trim it along that edge so that way there is no gapping and it fits in there perfectly so nothing can escape. And then I'm going to fill it with a couple of different confettis that I have from Honeybee. One of them I think is a birthday mix, but I don't even know if that one is still around. Honestly, I didn't look. I'm sorry. But you fill it with whatever you want. You don't have to use the things that I'm using. But so we bought him a computer and everybody pitched in for it, which was wonderful and super nice. And he was very excited to now have a, working computer that's functional. So his buddy, Albert, was the best man in our wedding, and he is from, Pennsylvania. Him and his wife, Lindsay, live there. And so I thought it would be really nice. I knew that we weren't going to be able to, like go out of town or do anything, super extra for his birthday. Not that he would want me to, he wouldn't. But, just something that would make it special and give us an opportunity to spend some time together. Like, that wasn't going to be an option with a 4-month-old. But my mother-in-law was here when I was making the plans, and she wonderfully, generously donated her time to watching Miss Caitlin so that we could go to dinner. And so I reached out to Albert's wife to see if they would be interested in meeting us halfway, so that we could have dinner with them, and surprise him that way. And so we did, and I found this Italian place that was like halfway. So it's like about an hour and a half for us. That was like halfway. And so I called, made reservations. We were all good to go to, meet up. And this is where I'm trimming the frame so that they all fit flush, and still give me a little bit of an outside gap on the outside edges. And so when it came time to go, like, I told him, like, I already had reservations, and I put the address in the GPS, and he was like, this can't be right. It says an hour and a half. And I was like, I told you that it was going to be a drive. Like, this is the restaurant I chose, and you're all about, like, let's go on adventures and let's do fun things. And, like, honestly, we passed through, he was counting, like, 7 different counties in Ohio. At one point he asked me if I had my passport. Another point he asked me if I was kidnapping him. Like, he really had no idea where we were going. But, that's the part I forgot. So this Italian place, actually a week before we went, closed. They just closed. They shut their doors. They didn't have enough staff. And so I was like, okay, now what? So then I get back on the Googles, because I'm working remotely here, folks. I'm not from that area, so I don't know. So I'm just going off what the Google says. And so I find this steakhouse that is like in the same general area, and I send Lindsay, his Albert's wife, a message, and I was like, "Hey, will this work for you guys? The other place shut down." And she was like, "Oh, we were just there last week for Albert's birthday." And I was like, "Oh man, come on." And she was like, "No, it was really good. Like we wouldn't mind going back. It's no big deal." So thankfully, they were totally okay with it. And so we did. We drove and drove and drove and drove an hour and a half to meet them for dinner. And fortunately for us, that the food was really good. It was a very nice place. We had decent weather. I had no idea what I was going to do if it was like a snowstorm. I probably would have just had to cancel. But fortunately, we didn't have bad weather. It was cold, but there was no precipitation. And so for me, with my driving anxiety, cold and no precipitation is just fine. It's the precipitation that kills me every time. So here for my sentiment, I did not get as good of an impression as I would like with the end of the wish and end of birthday. So I just went in with a white gel pen and kind of filled in any areas that were gapping. This is a great trick to use if you do white heat embossing. The white gel pen just kind of blends right in there and you can't even really tell. Now it won't be raised, but your word will be complete. So for these ones, I don't have any dies. And I don't know if they make any dies, but the Make-A-Wish, doing it as a label, it was just too large. I didn't like the way that it looked. And so I decided that I was just going to fussy cut around the sentiment. And I did choose to do two because I needed it to stretch along the length of this card. You know what I'm saying? The slimline card. But yeah, so the restaurant was really good. The trip was eventless. That's really ideal. And we did take my car because we had to save on the gas monies. We had to save on the gas monies. But it was a really nice night, and I think he was genuinely surprised. And so it was good. It was a good time, and it was nice to see them. We don't get to see them very often. So now once I've got all of my little rhinestones in place, I went back in and, did the details with my white gel pen for all of the birthday things, the polka dots, the highlights on the balloons, all of those things. And then I opted to add glitter. Eric probably didn't need the glitter, but I like the glitter. You know how I am. I added glitter to the banners to complete my shaker card, and then that's it. That's the whole thing. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you are doing well, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.